Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for watching the video. Off top, hit that notification bell. Let them know it's a new video dropping. Let your friends know. Share it with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't yet. You know, appreciate all that have subscribed. I'm going to give it to you fair and unbiased like I always do. Let's get into it.
Why do I always want to make the dog feel good by playing with their fucking privates?
Yeah.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
If I find my way home, yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy? Oh, don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Oh, don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Oh, don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Oh, don't you still amaze me? If I find my way home, yeah.
All right, today on Hog Dog News, we're talking Mr. Jack Kelly and many more. But first, we started off with this. Okay, when you're dealing with dogs, especially as breeders, when you're selling dogs to other people, do not get starstruck by celebrities. You know what I'm saying? When I mean that, I mean celebrity holler at you about one of your puppies. Do not treat them, you know, of course you're going to treat them, you're trying to get the sale, but if you want to do something for a person who's not a celebrity, don't do that for them. Because same way a person who's not a celebrity can be a bad dog, man, them celebrities can be bad dog people. Okay, in this situation, we got Young Jock. All right, here's what I tell you, you know what I'm saying, about people doing things with dogs and not really dog men, getting the dogs to impress people, getting the dogs to fit in, getting the dogs to make their woman happy, all kind of stuff. This situation, this is the vibe I'm getting from this situation. Young Jock got the dogs from this brother right here. Okay, you know who this brother is and his camp, you know, his kennel or whatever, and what kind of dogs he sells. Okay, the thing is, Young Jock said he was experienced in these breeds.
Not one, but 2 chain link fences, right? I put one of the fences up. Bro, nobody told me that these chain link fences were not sturdy enough for these dogs. I paid $1,500. You get what I'm saying? I'm paying $1,500. I had a company come out, put them up. In my mind, we're good. I put them in there. The dogs lasted in that damn kennel for 2 days.
I tapped in with Jack, told him go ahead and pay me the other half. The dogs are there. And my shipper fucked up on that. He actually let him get the dogs before Jack gave me the rest of the money minus what he owed me. Minus the little bit I didn't let him owe me for the interview we were supposed to do together, right? Important part. Jack told me, and I'll give him this. Jack told me that my last 2 dogs in 2010 got out and I had a court case. And when I had that court case, you know, I don't know how they got out. They had electric collars on or something, and they got out and they attacked my neighbor dog. And I got a court case and I got cited by the city. To this man saying the right things. He asked me to hold the dogs at my property for an extra month so he can get his gates put up. That shipper like pulling up to his house and he's like, bro, there's no gates. There's no gates here. The next thing that really was a red flag, and this is probably why I should have told the shipper to turn around and bring him back for real. But Jock told me what he told me and I went with it, you know what I mean? But my shipper told me, he was like, yo, he want to buy the traveling crates that the dogs are in. Now, mind you, these traveling crates are what I believe they were in until the moment they left that property.
Say he was experienced in his breeds, but yet you have nothing to house the dog in. You keep him in a kennel crate past the shipping time. You know, kennel crates is only for the shipping. Then once you get the dog home, you put him in whatever little area you have for him or whatever, okay? He has none of that set up. Now, Jock's supposed to be rich. He's supposed to be rich, or he's supposed to have some type of bread where you can at least afford a nice kennel set up for a dog, you know? And if you don't know, Mr. Jock, the United States, people consider dogs like family. So when you abuse them or mistreat them, different things will happen, okay? This the deal. He got the dog from the dude. They worked out some kind of plan. Like, don't sell your dogs to people who gon' rip you off. If just because you're starstruck, you know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that I had a chance to do throughout my life that I can say helped me into the situation I'm in right now, is because since I was a teenager, you know, I've been around stars. And when I was a teenager, I used to, you know, run back and forth from here to New York, stay in the tunnel, you know, around different people in Brooklyn and Queens and different rappers. You know, I ain't gonna say all of them names, you know, and I done did tracks with Gucci Man, then you know, been around Yo Gotti in the studio, and been around the boys from Texas, Magno and all them back in the days in the studio, did tracks with all them boys. Like, when I say stars, to me, everybody is equal. You know what I'm saying? To me, everybody is equal. I don't look at, like I said before, the $50 man no bigger than I look at the $50,000 man. We all people, we all equal. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if they're not gonna take care of your dogs, watch who you sell your dogs to. You know, if you worry about the dogs. If you need the bread, you gotta get the bread. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, right here what happened, Jock, Flim Flam the guy, you know what I'm saying? Out of the dog one way or another. If the dogs broke out, then you gotta make up for the you know, for the loss. But if you sold the dogs, then that's just bad business, you know. And what they have, the conclusion that we have come to is this has happened more than one time with Jock. Like my man said, every time somebody send him the dogs, you know, they end up disappearing. So if you're the next dog breeder to send him a dog or two and work out some kind of plan, don't be surprised when it goes to the left. The dogs will disappear eventually. You know what I'm saying? So he's got the name for bad business when it comes to the dogs. So just be careful, dog breeders. You know, it ain't about going out there trying to fight somebody, this and that, but you can hurt somebody in more than one way. You know what I'm saying? You can hurt them in more than one way. And if you're a bad dog, man, and for another thing, like I've been a Jock fan all my life as far as music wise, and I still like the brother music. And you know, what I'm saying is not to discredit him as a human being or none of that. I like his music. But I never seen a dog around Jock in anything. In any of his videos, he never promoted, he never walked with a dog, he never had a dog in his arms, he never chilled with a dog, he never had a dog in the car. Like he was never had dudes in the background holding dogs, no nothing. He's not a dog man. You know, so for him to say he a dog man, like I said before, you have dog people who just do it to fit in. They do it because they think it makes them cool. They think it makes them part of the crowd. They trying to impress that girl. See, he probably thought that girl, that woman that he married, you know, was going to be a real crazy over the dogs. But when the dogs got there, they were bigger than what she thought they was going to be. And then she probably didn't, you know, want to deal with the dogs all kind of ways. And then he's not a dog man, so that didn't work. So he just did what he had to do with the dogs. Now we're going to talk about Mr. Jack Kelly. Same Mr. Jack Kelly that was running the Sport and Dog Journal. In an old interview years ago, he said he could remember at times in 1950s where it was only 200, maybe 250 people in the dog game that he knew of in the dog circuit. And you know, people who had pit bulls scattered throughout the United States, but he said that he only knew of about 200, 250 people in the 1950s. Okay. Now, in 2021, they're estimating over 40,000 people in the American Pit Bull Terrier game circuit. And that's including good dog breeders, bad dog breeders, people who out there fighting dogs in the parks, people who doing like all kind of bad stuff with dogs. That's including everybody in one group, you know, everybody in one group. Now imagine how hard it is to keep track of all the information compared to back then. Back in the early 80s when Jeep and all them was coming out and Bolio them era and all that, it was easier to organize things. That's why the bloodlines last the way they have now. You know, because if they had 40,000 people to work with, it would have been no kind of organization just as it is right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, the more people came into it, the worse it got. You know, the more people came into it, the worse you got. When you start off with this small bunch and these reputable dogs with names, you know, them names went forever because the crowd just got bigger and all the crowd knew about was these first few names that was in the bunch. That's why nobody can make a dog like Red Boy, Jeep, Chinaman and all them dogs compared to now. You can't make the name the same way back then, now as you did back then because of the people that's in it. There's too many people involved in the situation in a fraternity that's supposed to be secretive. Like he even said he remember times when he was younger, he used to walk through the neighborhood with a dog and nobody knew what the pit bull was at this time in his neighborhood. People will say, what kind of dog is that? And you can just say, this old fighting dog. And it wouldn't be nothing. People wouldn't look at it no kind of way. Just a dog breed. And they knew his dogs were purebred. You could tell they were purebred, but they just didn't know what kind of breed it was. And when he uttered off the word fighting dog, it was nothing. But if you do that now, believe me, Humane Society, police and everybody will be at your front door within the next, if not 48 hours, few days. Now back in them days, getting caught in a pit bull circle was nothing. What brought Humane Society attention to the game, is when clowns got these dogs, went out into the parks, went into the playgrounds, just let the dogs fight just to see who's the baddest dog, went in these public areas, letting the dog fight, just to see who got the badder dog. Those are the clowns who brought Humane Society attention to the dog game. Now, Mr. Kelly also said he believes that one of the reasons the heat came to the pit bulls in the early 70s is because of a guy named Mr. King. Okay, Mr. King attended some dog fights back in Chicago in the early 70s. He didn't have any dogs. He just had dog man friends, and a couple of his friends decided they was going to play a joke on Mr. King, which was just tell him all kind of crazy things about their dogs, make their dogs seem like the toughest, roughest animals on the face of the earth, you know what I'm saying? And then once Mr. King went to this match and seeing how the match went down, what they didn't realize was Mr. King was a journalist, so he went back and published a paper, and what the paper did was make the pit bull look like the worst thing on this soil, on United States soil. He made the pit bull look like a beast, like a ferocious beast in that article. And that's one of the times where things changed for the pit bull as well. During this time, the pit bull was receiving all kind of bad reputation for everything that happened in the United States, And Mr. Kelly said he remembers a time when a little girl stabbed the dog in the ear with a pencil. The dog turned around and nipped the little girl, and it went down, and they took the dog off or whatever, and by the time it got to the paper, the report was a pit bull attacked a little girl. The dog was a Saint Bernard. Like I said, the popularity of the breed sometimes messes the breed up. Check out Ren 1010. When Ren 1010 came out, everybody wanted their dog to look like Ren 1010 or wanted a dog like Ren 1010, and which in the long run, what it did was mess the German Shepherd breed up. When Ren 1010 came out, the German Shepherd breed was not the way it is now today, But after the movie and after the popularity of the breed grew, now look at the German Shepherd breed. You know what I'm saying? Okay, same thing happened to the Doberman, and the Rottweiler as well. When the Doberman became popular, the Rottweiler became popular, different breeders get them, they breed just to get puppies. People think breeding is all about getting puppies, selling and making money. No, it's about other things. It's about other things. We want people 15 years from now to be able to have a dog and say it got the same quality traits as the dog's supposed to have. And when people get dogs just to fit in, just to make money, don't know anything about the breed itself, just, I'm a breeder, I'm gonna make money. We got these kind of dogs. We got pocket bullies. We got these. We got Frenchies. We got Malinois. We got Bulldog. Whatever you got or whatever they got, they just got them just to make money. Puppy peddlers. They don't even know what puppy peddlers is because they're not even that deep in the game yet to know what a puppy peddler is. But they're puppy peddlers. Amateur breeding has turned Beagle Basset Hounds into dogs that go in the woods and won't even chase a rabbit. So The popularity of breeds and the lack of knowledge when it comes to breeding and the lack of caring when it comes to money, has messed breeds up. Has messed breeds up. Now, Mr. Kelly said he sold the Sport Dog Journal in 2001, but the new owner of the company was arrested a year later in New York. He served time in a New York prison as well. But like Mr. Kelly say, writing about game dogs is not a crime. Publishing about game dogs is not a crime. But when you do that, you're putting a big bullseye on your back for the Humane Society. Mr. Kelly also said by allowing the dog to be called champion, he was promoting illegal activity. Coming up at a young age, seeing dogfighting go from a slap on the wrist to a ticket to just under a murder charge, things took a turn to the worst. Okay, here's the kicker, folks. When Humane Society was able to prove all the illegal activities involved with dogfighting, is when the law enforcement got involved. It's when the federal government got involved. When he was asked if he ever had any run-ins with the law, Mr. Kelly responded a few times. One time they locked up over 75 people. Over 75 people was locked up, but only 3 of them was really charged. The other 72 people were given fines and probation. 3 of them was charged. Harry Hargrove, because it all happened on Harry Hargrove's property. Robert Sweatman was charged because his name was inscribed in the scale that was used to weigh the dogs out. He had his name inscribed in the scale, so nobody can't steal your scale or walk off with your scale. And that's how they charged him with it, okay? And they charged Mr. Kelly because he was the referee. When it came to the sentencing time, it was a little crazy as well. All 3 defendants were sentenced to 5 years for allowing dogs to fight for sporting reasons, on top of an additional year for simple gambling. Now, Hargrove and Sweatman received the extra 5 years for commercial gambling. Now, that's 11 years for Hargrove and Sweatman and 6 years for Mr. Jack Kelly. Okay, now if he said he only knew of about 200, 250 people back in the 50s and 60s that was in the pit bull game, doing the pit bull, fraternity thing or whatever. Okay, now this thing is a buddy system. Okay, all them boys basically knew each other. So if you multiply the number of people compared to back then and now, this is what you get. You get like 8,000 buddy systems throughout the country. So how can you keep track of who is doing what's what, real champions, real grands, real 10-timers, real losers, real curves, real anything? You know what I'm saying? You got 8,000 groups of people estimated, that got their own, little fraternity. So how can you keep track of all that? How can you keep track of it? You can't. But I appreciate y'all watching the video, subscribing to the channel, commenting at the bottom. It's your boy Pelican Bay Kennels. Give me the hog dog news the way I always do. Let's get up out of here.